When you add to, ing, or ed after a verb, the parts of speech of these verbs changes into a noun, adjective, or an adverb. We call these new words non-finite verbs or verbals. Non-finite verbs are important because in the English language, you can only use one verb per sentence. So if you already used the verb in a sentence but want to express another idea associated with actions, you have to change the verb into a non-finite verb. For instance, in the following sentence I am, the word am is a verb. So if you put another verb jump in the sentence will be wrong. You have to change the word jump into jumping. Depending on what parts of speech you need, you can change the verb into 4 different non-finite verbs. I'll talk about what each one does in a minute, but before I do, let me tell you another reason why non-finite verbs are important. They're important because they may function as a quasi-sentence, a fake sentence that is not a real sentence but expresses the meaning of a sentence. This is a very important feature for accurate communication in English. Take the sentence, I dislike your bullying my friend. The subject of the sentence is I, the verb is dislike, and the object is the phrase you're bullying my friend. However, if you think about who's bullying, you are bullying. If you think about who's being bullied, my friend is. Hence, you is the fake subject that expresses the meaning of a subject. We call this the understood subject. The phrase my friend is the understood object. Hence, the non-finite verb creates a quasi-sentence within the object. All non-finite verbs can create a quasi-sentence, and it is very important for reading comprehension. In this video, we'll look at all non-finite verbs, explain how each of them works, and how they create a quasi-sentence. Let's begin. Let's start with the gerund. If you add ing after a verb and treat it as a noun, it is called a gerund. That means gerunds can go to the subject's position, object's position, complement's position, and modifier's position if the modifier is a prepositional phrase. For instance, working as a CEO needs passion. I love working as a CEO, I am working as a CEO, and I'm writing on working as a CEO. The next non-finite verb is the to-infinitive. If you put the word to in front of the base form of the verb, you can use it as a noun, adjective, or an adverb. If you use it as a noun, it can go to the subject, object, complement, and adverb position just as the gerund does. If it is used as an adjective, it can go to the complement and modifier's position, as in I am to die soon and I bought a book to read. What's the difference between the gerund and the to-infinitive acting as a noun? Nothing much, except that some verbs only take gerunds as their object, as in I enjoy skating, I practice skating, and I avoid skating. On the other hand, some verbs only take to-infinitives as their object, as in I want to skate, I hope to skate with you, and I wish to skate again. In addition, some verbs take both options, and it doesn't make a difference which one you choose. Lastly, some verbs take both options, while it does make a difference which one you choose. For instance, I forgot turning off the heater means you already turned off the heater, but you forgot that you turned it off. In contrast, I forgot to turn off the heater means you did not turn off the heater because you forgot to do so. Please check out our blog in the link below for more detail. Anyway, let's move on to the next non-finite verbs, the present participle and the past participle. The present participle is when you add ing after a verb and change the verb into an adjective. The past participle is when you add ed after a verb and change the verb into an adjective. So both of them are adjectives. What's the difference? The present participle is used for the active voice and the present continuous tense. The past participle is used for the passive voice and perfect tenses. For instance, a walking robot shows the present participle used in an active voice. In contrast, a robot created by engineers shows the past participle used in the passive voice. I am swimming shows the present continuous tense, while I have finished my homework shows the present perfect tense. Anyway, both of them are adjectives, so they can appear before and after nouns. Here comes a question for you. Sometimes a noun before another noun acts as an adjective. For instance, cash payment or food delivery. Then what's the difference between the gerund in front of a noun and the present participle in front of a noun, especially when they look the same? Gerunds usually refer to purpose, while present participle usually refer to actions. In case of the sleeping car, the car can have the purpose of sleeping, but it doesn't make sense that the car is sleeping. So the phrase sleeping is a gerund. In case of a walking dog, the dog can have the action of walking, but it doesn't make sense that the dog is for the purpose of walking. Therefore, the phrase walking is a present participle. However, sometimes both meanings can work. In such cases, you have to look at the context to distinguish the two. Okay, here comes the last part of this lesson. Let's talk about how non-finite verbs can create a quasi-sentence. The understood subject of the to-infinitive is the noun that comes before the to-infinitive, as in you in I want you to read. If the sentence is I want to read, then the understood subject is I. Now, if you want an understood object in the quasi-sentence, add it right after the to-infinitive, as in I want to read books. Moving on, let's talk about the gerund. The understood subject is the noun that comes before the gerund. In I love writing, the understood subject is the word I. In I love Tom writing a love letter, the understood subject is the word Tom. If the understood subject is a pronoun, you have to write it in the possessive form, as in my, his, her, their, and so on. And of course, the understood object is the phrase a love letter. Moving on, for present participle, the understood subject is the noun that the present participle describes. For instance, in the following sentence, the understood subject is the word tiger. In the following sentence, the understood subject is tiger and the understood object is the raw meat. Finally, the understood subject of the past participle is the noun that the past participle describes. However, please be aware that the noun is the understood subject of the passive voice. For instance, in the following sentence, the cat is the understood subject of the past participle. But the cat is not the one that excites others. The cat is the one being excited by the music, as in the cat is excited by the music. As I emphasized before, these quasi-sentences are not real sentences. I call them fake sentences only because their meaning is similar to a sentence. Alright, this is it for the non-finite verbs. For more detailed information, check out our blog in the link below. It was nice having you, and goodbye.